Becoming Cuba takes place on the eve of the Spanish-American War, and it's about a pharmacist, Adela, who's lost her husband to the war. And it's about how she is trying to keep the war outside of her pharmacy and her journey to open up her heart to her family again, as well as to the possibility of a new national identity.
There's a legend in my family about my great-grandmother, Mama Juana, who lived during the Cuban War of Independence. The Spanish were rounding up people to put them into camps so they could occupy all the land, and she refused to go, and she walked up into the mountains, and so the story goes, met up with rebels and joined the rebellion. From her story, I got inspired by the time period and this interesting character that I created.
Melinda and I have been working on this play together on and off for probably about 2 years now. I absolutely fell in love with it from the moment that I read it. I was really struck by how fresh it felt, how it was dealing with a time that I knew not a whole lot about, in a place that I didn't know very much about, but it felt like my family. It felt very much like many of the questions that we're asking ourselves as Americans.
I suppose a funny way to think about the play and the events of the play is they're kind of using the old adage, the more things change, the more things stay the same. It's set in this great historical context that is unique in the specifics of it, but at the same time, all conflicts share very universal kind of qualities.
Wars of intervention, and I think wars of rebellion, are cycles that happen over and over again. What happened in Cuba in 1897, 1898 is really similar to, what happened in Egypt, what happened in parts of Africa, what happened in the breakup of the Soviet Union. People coming together and saying, we don't want to be part of your country anymore.
I don't think people will have to go home and Google anything to find out what the play was about. I think they might go home and go, wow, I need to know more about that part of our history. It's a fascinating time which I knew absolutely nothing about. And it also has this very, very, very fine layer of supernatural sort of laying over the top of the whole thing.
There's a kind of parade of ghosts. These characters who have been alive forever, well, lived and died, but didn't go away. And so they come back periodically to talk to the audience about their point of view now about what happened then. And they're a little bit creepy and a lot funny. I love seeing it brought to life on stage, and we have an insanely talented cast, too talented for words.
Melinda's themes and Melinda's dialogue is universal, and it's funny.
At the core of it, this play deals with relationships between the family, divisions in generational thought, and political thought, these kind of things that can tear families apart.
The play is about all of the things that involve a country during wartime, all of the love, all of the loyalties.
Melinda has an incredible gift to tell a very universal story under very specific circumstances. If you are drawn to stories about love and family, this is the play for you. Anyone who has a beating heart will be affected by the story that Melinda is telling.